Live from New Delhi, you're watching DD India Live, India's voice to the world. I'm Preeti Kaur. Coming up in the next 30 minutes. Malibu wildfires destroy homes and forces evacuations in California. More than 2,700 acres of land burnt so far. Syria's new Prime Minister Mohammed al-Bashir meets members of former government to facilitate transition, calls for stability and calm. Government of India evacuates 75 Indian nationals from Syria. Evacuees include 44 pilgrims from Jammu and Kashmir. Israel's Netanyahu rejects absurd charges at corruption trial, strongly rejects any wrongdoing to resume testifying today. India's Prime Minister Narendra Modi will interact with young innovators at the grand finale of Smart India Hackathon 2024 via video conferencing. A fierce wildfire spread across California's Malibu on Tuesday, forcing extensive evacuations and threatening homes as firefighters struggled to contain the blaze. The wildfire, known as the Franklin Fire, had swelled to more than 2,600 acres and was still raging out of control, with the National Weather Service posting a high danger red flag warning because of powerful winds. Around 2,000 buildings in the eastern half of Malibu were under a compulsory evacuation order. People living in another 6,000 properties in the city were being advised to leave. Tens of thousands of people across Southern California had their electricity cut off. Wildfire Chief Maron confirmed that only a minimal number of homes have been destroyed and did not specify the exact number.
LA County fire units were responded to a report of a brush fire at Malibu Canyon Road and the tunnel. Units reported 5 acres of heavy brush burning and being spread by strong Santa Ana winds. The fire is currently estimated at over 2,200 acres, and we have 700 firefighting personnel assigned.
Let's get to updates from Syria now. The new interim leader took charge as caretaker prime minister with the backing of the former rebels. The appointment comes after al-Bashir met with members of al-Assad's government. The meeting was held under the headlines of transferring the files and institutions to caretake the government. In a brief address on state television, Mohammed al-Bashir said that he would lead the interim authority until March 1st. Bashir, in his first interview to Qatar's Al Jazeera television, said that it was time for stability and calm in the country.
Today we held a cabinet meeting that included a team from the Salvation Government that was working in Idlib and its vicinity and the government of the ousted regime. The meeting was under the headline of transferring the files and institutions from the government of the ousted regime to the transitional government in order to receive these files and conduct business. This means that there will be a Syrian government that will handle these files and manage the business during a transitional period, God willing, that may end on March 1st. The General Command has tasked us with running the transitional government until March 1st, 2025.
India has evacuated 75 nationals from Syria following the recent developments in the West Asian country. The evacuees included 44 Zaireen, or the pilgrims from Jammu and Kashmir, who were stranded at Saida Zainab. All Indian nationals have safely crossed over to Lebanon and will return by available commercial flights to India. The evacuation was coordinated by the embassies of India and Damascus and Beirut following the assessment of security situation and requests from Indian nationals in Syria. Indian nationals remaining in Syria are advised to stay in touch with the Indian embassy in Damascus at their emergency helpline number and email ID for updates. The government of India says it will continue to monitor the situation closely. US Secretary of State Antony Blinken on Tuesday urged all nationals, in fact all nations, to support an inclusive political process in Syria. Blinken in a statement said that the Syrian people will decide the future of Syria. He also added all nations should pledge to support an inclusive and transparent process and refrain from external interference. Blinken further said that the United States will recognize and fully support a future Syria government that results from this process.
Secretary Blinken has been on the phone today with a number of his counterparts in the Middle East about the situation in Syria. He has so far today spoken with Jordanian Deputy Prime Minister and Minister of Foreign Affairs and Expatriates Aman Safadi, Emirati Foreign Minister Abdullah bin Zayed Al Nahyan, Qatari Prime Minister and Minister of Foreign Affairs Mohammed bin Abdulrahman Al Thani, and Egyptian Foreign Minister Badr Abdulati.
The Biden administration has urged the rebel group not to assume automatic leadership of the country, but instead run an inclusive process to transform a transitional government. According to sources, the communications with Hayat Tahrir al-Sham are being conducted in coordination with Washington's Middle East allies, including Turkey. The discussions, which have taken place over the last several days, are part of a larger effort by Washington to coordinate with various groups inside Syria as it tries to navigate the chaotic aftermath of the sudden collapse of Assad regime on Sunday. The sources said that the US has sent messages to the group to help guide early efforts to establish a formal governing structure for the country. Israel's Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu testified for the first time on Tuesday in his long-running corruption trial, rejecting what he described as absurd, the allegations against him. Appearing at a crowded courtroom in Tel Aviv on Tuesday, the embattled Israeli leader said that the charges leveled against him were an ocean of absurdity. Israel's longest-serving prime minister faces charges of bribery, fraud and breach of public trust in 3 separate cases. He has consistently denied any wrongdoing. He further accused the media of being biased towards him. He took the stand for about 4 hours on Tuesday and will resume testifying on Wednesday. All right, shifting focus to Ukraine, a drone hit and severely damaged an official vehicle of the International Atomic Energy Agency on the road to Russian-held Zaporizhzhia nuclear power plant on Tuesday. IAEA Chief Rafael Grossi condemned as an unacceptable attack on the agency staff working to prevent a nuclear accident during the military conflict. He added that there were no casualties and the teams are safe.
As Director General of the IAEA, I condemn in the most firm terms this attack on the IAEA staff. We call once again, as we have done it before, for the utmost restraint. I have said in the past that attacking a nuclear power plant is a no-go. Attacking those who care for the nuclear safety and security of these plants is even more unacceptable.
Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky said the strike was a deliberate Russian attack that showed Moscow had total disregard for international law, global institutions and safety. He also added that the Russians could not have been unaware of their target. They knew exactly what they were doing and also acted deliberately. He thus called for clear and decisive response from the IAEA and other international bodies. Meanwhile, Russian missile killed at least 4 people in the southeastern city of Zaporizhzhia. Russia regularly carries out airstrikes on Zaporizhzhia and the surrounding region. On Friday, an attack on the city killed 10 people and wounded more than 20. Reacting to this, Ukraine's Zelensky urged the country's allies to provide 10 to 12 more Patriot air defense systems that he said would fully protect its skies. He further urged allies to use frozen Russian funds to pay for more Patriots as Ukraine braces for another winter of Russian attacks on its devastated power system. U.S. President-elect Donald Trump may get a relief in hush money case. Manhattan prosecutors renewed their opposition to Trump's efforts to quash his hush money conviction, but accepted pausing the case while he is the president. Prosecutors have suggested to a New York judge the possibility of sparing Trump any prison time for his conviction on charges involving hush money paid to a porn star in light of his U.S. presidential election victory, but opposed dismissing the case. The judge indefinitely postponed Trump's sentencing at a hearing on November 22nd, given his win in the November 5th presidential election. Trump's legal team had earlier cited a landmark July ruling from the Supreme Court that gives presidents sweeping immunity for official acts committed while in office as justification for their request to throw out this conviction. But prosecutors accepted Trump should receive special treatment to prevent the case interfering with his second White House stint. Prosecutors argued that Trump's bid to have the case thrown out was well beyond what was needed to protect the presidency. The judge will now have to decide whether to throw out the case entirely or to suspend any legal consequences until the end of Trump's upcoming term in office, which will begin on January 20th. A Sudanese military airstrike on a market in North Darfur has killed more than 100 people in one of the deadliest days of fighting in the devastating war that has extended for almost 20 months with no end in sight. Clashes have intensified in different parts of Sudan in recent weeks between the army and its former ally, the paramilitary Rapid Support Forces. Both sides deny carrying out war crimes during their power struggle that has caused the world's biggest humanitarian crisis and forced more than 11 million people from their homes. The emergency lawyers group said in a separate incident on Monday evening that 3 neighborhoods were hit with barrel bombs in Nyala, the capital of South Darfur, without reporting casualties. A UN-backed report in July said that famine had taken hold in a major refuge camp in North Darfur after a months-long RSF siege disabled nearly all trade and aid access. All right, let's get you more updates with regard to other headlines making it to the bulletin. Nobel laureate for physics, chemistry, medicine, economics and literature received their prizes at a royal ceremony in Stockholm on Tuesday. Now, the ceremony featured the laureates and guests in glamorous formal wear, with the men in white tie and tails and women in long gowns. The Nobel Peace Prize was awarded in Oslo earlier in the day. Mythical Krampus and other frightening creatures took to the streets of Munich to frighten and delight the pedestrians. The horned, sheepskin-clad Krampus frightened adults and children alike, dragging some from the crowd and beating them with their beach rods. It was also joined by Pochten, whose stamping and rattling of bells is said to scare away the evil spirits of winter. The playful and agile giant panda named Shengei was captured showing off her climbing skills at a breeding base in southwest China's Sichuan province. She smoothly glided from one branch to another, taking occasional breaks to relax and lounge on the branches. We're heading for a short break. You're watching DD India Live, but after the break, Indian Defence Minister Rajnath Singh meets Russian President Putin. Says India has always stood by its Russian friends and will continue to do so in future. India's de-cocation action as World Chess Championship to restart after rest day. New York City streets are a sight to behold. Why? Stay with us to know.
Geopolitics and trade deals. Economic challenges amid development. Hard work and the path to prosperity. It's the economy, always. Between walkers, money is what money does and says. Supply creates its own demand. Between the bulls pulls and bears tears. When supply chains globalization and India rises to the podium. We'll get you centered with the Economic Brief at 8 p.m. every Thursday on DD India.
Welcome back. After the break, you're watching DD India Live. India's Defence Minister Rajnath Singh on Tuesday met Russian President Vladimir Putin in Moscow and conveyed that India has always stood by its Russian friends and will continue to do so in the future. During the meeting, both the leaders discussed various issues of bilateral defence cooperation. They also expressed that partnership between both the countries holds immense potential and combined efforts will pave a way for remarkable outcomes. Rajnath Singh said that friendship between our countries is higher than the highest mountain and deeper than the deepest ocean. Earlier, Defence Minister Rajnath Singh and his Russian counterpart Andrei Belosov co-chaired the 21st session of the India-Russia Intergovernmental Commission on Military and Military Technical Cooperation in Moscow. The minister voiced the Government of India's determination to extend the capabilities of its domestic defence industry across domains. He also spoke about new opportunities for enhancing participation of Russian industries in the Make in India projects. He also reiterated India's commitment to the special and privileged strategic partnership with Russia. Minister Singh has invited Minister Belosov to visit India for the next such meeting. For his part, the Russian Defence Minister emphasized on deepening the relationship between both the countries, which is based on mutual trust. He congratulated Minister Singh on the commissioning of the INS Tushil warship. Nepalese Army Chief General Ashok Raj Sidgal commenced a significant 4-day official visit to India on Tuesday. The visit aims at strengthening mutual understanding, exchanging views on aspects of common interest, and strengthening bilateral defence cooperation between the two nations. The visiting leader is scheduled to meet the political and military leadership of the country. General Ashok Raj Sidgal is also scheduled to visit the holy city of Ayodhya, wherein he will pay obeisance to the Ram temple. The grand finale of Smart India Hackathon 2024 will be held on Wednesday. More than 1,300 students' teams from across the country will participate in the finale. Prime Minister Narendra Modi will interact with the participants. Aditya Srivastava reports from Bhopal.
The 7th edition of Smart India Hackathon will begin simultaneously at 51 nodal centres across the country on Wednesday. The software version will run non-stop for 36 hours, while the hardware version will continue from 11th to 15th December. Like previous editions, student teams will work on problem statements given by ministries or departments or industries and present their ideas in the student innovation category against any of the 17 themes related to areas of national importance. These sectors are healthcare, supply chain and logistics, smart technology, heritage and culture, sustainability, education and skill development, water, agriculture and food, emerging technologies, and disaster management.
We are working on the problem statement which is given by Ministry of Agriculture. So our project is basically for the farmers, for the welfare and well-being of farmers.
My entire team is very much excited.
We are engineering students, we are the youth of the nation, so we should know about what is going in our country and we have to make it more developed and better.
Some of the interesting problem statements include enhancing images of dark regions on the moon presented by ISRO, developing a real-time Ganga water quality monitoring system using AI, satellite data, IoT and dynamic models, presented by the Jal Shakti Ministry, and developing smart yoga mat integrated with AI, submitted by the Ministry of Ayush.
This year in the hardware edition, we have over 17 teams who will be coming here from around 8 states like Gujarat, Maharashtra, Delhi, NCR, etc. And they will be solving problems by various ministries. Our Honorable Prime Minister Shri Narendra Modi ji will be addressing the students live virtually.
It is worth noting that Smart India Hackathon is an initiative that encourages students and professionals to develop innovative solutions to real-world problems through technology and digital tools.
Youth of the nation is also interested, is also dedicated for the developed India. So the government of India is also trying to enhance their caliber. With camera person Chandramohan, Aditya Srivastava, DD India, Bhopal.
Now we take a look at other stories making it to the headlines from India. As winter sets in, Gandhi Zoological Park in the central Indian state of Madhya Pradesh ensures cozy habitats for its animals. Heaters, bulbs and thick curtains provide warmth, benefiting lions, tigers, bears and other species. The arrangements ensure animals stay safe and comfortable. As the 25th Hornbill Festival concludes on Tuesday, the Minister of Tourism and Higher Education of Nagaland, Temjem Imnal Along, thanked Chief Minister Nefurio for his leadership and praised the efforts of its departments and contributors. The 10-day-long festival ended with a spectacular closing ceremony at Kisama, celebrating Nagaland's rich culture and heritage. Canadian singer-songwriter Brian Adams recently performed in the North Indian state of Meghalaya as part of his So Happy It Hurts tour. The iconic artist thrilled fans with unforgettable performances of his timeless hits at Jawaharlal Nehru Stadium. On to sports. World Chess Championship between Indian teenage challenger D. Gukesh and China's Ding Liren will start on Wednesday after its final rest day. On Monday, Ding hit back with the win in the 12th game, right after losing the previous game to Gukesh on Sunday. In Game 11, Gukesh stunned the world champion with a breathtaking queen sacrifice, forcing him to resign on the spot. With 2 more games left in the championship, the scores are now tied at 6-all. If no player is leading in the overall score after 14 games, the fate of the World Championship will be decided by tie breaks that are played with faster time controls. New York City streets have once again transformed into a winter wonderland, delighting residents and visitors alike. The Rockefeller Center Christmas tree was officially lit recently, drawing crowds eager to witness the iconic dazzling tree. Sourced from West Stockbridge, Massachusetts, this marks the first tree from the state since 1959. India's public broadcaster Prasar Bharati has recently launched Waves, entering the field of OTT platform. Waves provides a complete infotainment ecosystem to digital media and OTT audience. If you also want great content for free, then download Waves today. We'll be back with more news as it breaks here on DD India. I'm Preeti Kaur signing off, and from all of us here in Delhi, thanks for watching DD India Live.